Hey, Michael the Parrot Wizard here to talk to you about making a new bird in your home comfortable. You want to do your best to help that bird settle in. When you bring a new bird home, it can quite well be uneasy with all the changes in environment, the changes in people, the changes in supplies. So here are some tips about what you can do to help that bird settle in and be comfortable as soon as possible. First of all, we're going to want to give the bird some space. Don't crowd the bird. Don't be taking the bird out all the time. Don't be trying to make everything happen immediately. Parrots are prey animals, so they are naturally more scared and skittish of others. They're afraid of predators. So for this reason, if you come on hard on your bird and keep trying to spend a lot of time with the bird and do a lot of things, it's going to make the bird uncomfortable. So instead, give your bird some space, let your bird see what is going on, and take in the surroundings. Let your bird observe you more than you observe the bird. I know it's very tempting and you want to be getting your hands on and participating as soon as possible, but letting things settle down will help you have a more hands-on relationship sooner than if you go start chasing the bird. Now, the other thing we can do is prepare our supplies and environment so the bird can be as comfortable as possible. So over here, I have my temperature gauge. We are making sure that we're keeping things at a comfortable temperature. If it's winter, make sure you keep things warm. If it's summer, don't let things get too hot. Generally speaking, short sleeve weather, temperatures when you are comfortable without having to get dressed up or sweating a lot are going to be comfortable for a parrot. That said, are on the side of possibly being a little bit warmer than colder, because a cold parrot can get more stressed out, especially during that transition, more likely to get sick. So don't let them get too cold, particularly during the early transition time. Keeping the temperature somewhere between 70 and 80 is a great starting point. Young parrots and certain species, but even parrots in general, can be prone to night frights. So go ahead and place a nightlight near the bird's cage so that it doesn't get too dark, so that the bird is less likely to thump around or fall down and get hurt by being able to see its surroundings when it's dark. I've also got the food prepared in advance. Sometimes the bird might come with its own bag of seed or mix that it's already familiar with. Generally, for the first few weeks, you want to start with the food that the bird is familiar with. Even if you're going to transition to a healthier diet, you want to make the transition more gradual. Don't do it all at once, so that it wouldn't be too stressful on the bird that suddenly everything changed and the diet is radically different as well. But that said, you can still start mixing in some of the new long-term diet that you intend to use for that species to start getting used to it and eventually transitioning to the long-term care diet. Be sure to replace the food daily. Don't leave old food in the bowl, even if uneaten. It could be that the bird just doesn't like that kind of food, but don't get tricked thinking that the bowl is still full, particularly if the bird is on a seed mix diet. It might look like it didn't eat any of the seeds, they're all still there, but in reality, it's still the holes, the shells of the seeds still being left over, and no seeds left, or the real seeds that are uneaten or buried, and the bird can't get to them. So particularly if the bird is on a seed diet, make sure that you're throwing it all out and putting new seed back in its place to ensure that the bird has access to seeds and it has access to the seeds that it's going to eat, because they don't necessarily eat every kind of seed that's in the mix. Next, be sure to have a scale ready, appropriately sized for your parrot, with a perch so that you can keep track of your bird's weight. Now, it may not be possible to handle your bird in the first week or two, so you may or may not be able to get a reading of your bird's weight right away, but definitely make it your goal as soon as you're able to start handling your bird and getting your bird out, that being able to put the bird on a scale to keep track of the weight is going to be one of the things we're going to want to keep track of as soon as possible. Particularly during the transition period, birds are more likely to be stressed, not eat as well, or if they have any underlying illness or health conditions, this is the time when they're more likely to lose weight and show those symptoms. So by catching the weight decline early, you would have a sign that you might need to take that bird to the vet to get medication. This right here in particular is a Parrot Wizard new perch scale. They come in two different sizes, a small and a larger one that you can use for any size parrot. Best of all, it has a new perch built in, similar to the perches we use in the cage, so the bird is much quicker to adjust and know how to step on there than if you just use an ordinary scale with a flat top. You can find these scales and perches at parrotwizard.com. Speaking of perches, I also have my perches prepared. Not only do I have some of these new perches in the cage and a training perch for outside the cage when we're ready to use it, but I also have a handheld perch that I can use for picking up the parrot before it is ready to step on my hand, but as a transition towards being able to pick up and handle the bird. So don't get just one perch, make sure you get a bunch. You want 3 or 4 of these in the cage. You want 5 to 8 perches in the cage in general so the bird has somewhere to get around and perch in the cage. Variety is great, but you also want to have one extra for being able to pick up and handle the bird during the training exercises. A comfortable new perch that's similar to the perches in the cage so that the bird can adjust and know how to step on it much sooner than just using an ordinary scale. Speaking of the bird's health, schedule a vet visit for the bird early on to make sure that the bird is healthy, as well as get a baseline in case the bird ever is not. Be sure to outfit your parrot's cage with perches and toys before the parrot comes home. What you need to realize is you may not be able to stick your hands in that bird's cage during the first few weeks. The bird might be scared of your hands, the bird might be bitey. You may not have the opportunity to change those supplies for the first few weeks until you develop enough trust to be able to handle the bird or take the bird out of the cage, or at least put your hands in the cage with the bird in it. So be sure to outfit the bird's cage with perches and toys generously so that those supplies would last until you're able to bridge that gap of trust and have a better relationship. For small birds, you're gonna get a variety of smaller toys. Now, you don't necessarily know early on what kind of toys your bird is going to like. In fact, if the bird is a baby, the bird might not know what kind of toys it's going to like because it doesn't have a lot of experience with toys yet. This is why getting a variety of suitably sized toys is a great idea. Try to focus particularly on toys that they can chew and break apart, toys that have a lot of wood and wicker pieces and things they can shred and break. Avoid having toys with too much plastic and strings. They might pull on them a little bit and get a little bit of entertainment out of them, but they really do best when they have to use their beak to chew and shred. You'll want a clicker and target stick to do training, but you may not be ready to use these with your new bird in the first few days, but have them ready because quite soon you will be ready to start targeting your bird inside and outside of the cage until you can handle your bird and work on having a better relationship. Be sure to grab a copy of my book, The Parrot Wizard's Guide to Well-Behaved Parrots, to learn my complete approach about having a wonderful relationship with a parrot in your home. It's not just about training, it's about living in harmony with your feathered companions. Thanks for watching. See you soon.